Hello everybody and welcome to another HoN channel video. I apologize for being so long between videos. I plan to do a lot more of these, a lot quicker, but unfortunately I was moving house and I actually had my computer blow up on me and things got a little bit hectic, but finally I got some time that can settle down and do a few more videos for everyone. Introductory videos as well as some shoutcasts as well as some beginner game guides, more as we're going to play a few heroes, and you can watch me play a few heroes, and you can jump out and play a few heroes. You kind of copy what I do, I guess, but it just gives you an idea of how to play. So anyway, here we have all the agility heroes on the Hellbourne team. Oh, another thing to quickly note, at the moment we are in HoN Christmas mode, so you'll see a little bit of snow around the map and whatnot. It can be a bit blindingly light. And if you can listen in the background, you'll just be able to hear a little bit of Christmas music playing that I have put in the game as well. So if you're watching this video at some later date and everything looks a little bit different, you're like, what the hell? Well, there you go, it was just Christmas mode. It just pops out every year. They like to do something different for you. So anyway, let's have a look at these agility heroes we have here. Now, pretty much every agility hero on the Hellbourne team is more set up either as a carry hero who's looking to be the strong damage dealer for your team late game, or as some sort of ganking hero who's more about maybe being mid and then heading around the map trying to pick off targets, who can also generally, those kind of heroes can snowball and carry late game, but really they're more, I generally play them more as giving your hard carry time to farm up, just by making the rest of the team a little bit wary about where you are on the map and what you're doing, so it gives your hard carry a bit more time. So anyway, let's go into that, and we're going to go in order with hero decks, so you can follow along with hero decks if you like. So first up we have Arachna. So let's get Arachna out here. Now Arachna is exactly one of those ganking heroes that I was talking about. She excels at taking down single targets. She's a very good carry too if you get the farm on her, but the problem with Arachna is it's very, well, she doesn't have those flash farming abilities that you see on other ranged carries like Draconis and Silhouette, which we saw in the other video, who are generally can bring down triple stack camps of creep really easily, or take down any amounts of creeps really easy with their own abilities. Of course, you could build something like Thunderclaw or things like that on her that's going to help her farm a little bit quicker, but in general, she's not the greatest farmer. What you're looking for when you're playing Arachna is getting your gold from killing heroes, and her abilities are set up quite well for that. Now, her first ability is her web shot, which is kind of her bread and butter, and it's what makes her so strong in lane and very hard to play against. Now, web shot is just a kind of like an auto attack, so you use it as an auto attack, but as you can see there's a gooey web on the target we auto attack. Watch out, Arachna. And this gooey web applies a 40% movement speed at max level. Of course these are slightly less at the lower levels. Minus 20 attack speed and deals 16 magic damage per second. So in lane you can just be spamming this Q ability on your target enemies. And one thing to note about this Q ability is it won't aggro creep, which is quite handy. So when I say I mean when you're fighting someone in lane and you throw your Q at them, it doesn't count as an auto attack, so the creep don't come over and attack you instead of the other creep they're fighting. Of course, these neutral camps, any target at them is going to wake them up and make them go, oi, what are you doing? So anyway, that's her first ability. Now her second ability is a Hardened Carapace, which is essentially dispels any disbuffs on her, and for 5 seconds she gains 32 magic armor, and as you can see when I activate it she turns nice and pink, and she gains a ridiculous amount of magic armor. 32 is an insane amount. Yeah, she dispels any disbuffs. So if she's been slowed by something, or there's some kind of a dot effect, which is damage over time effect, she can take that off her instantly, so she's no longer slowed, no longer taking that damage, and can get away and has that heaps of armor. And by having that extra armor, you can see, if you look down at the right there, I have almost 70% magic damage reduction just by activating that ability at level 4. So that's taken off a lot of damage within 5 seconds. Now her third ability is called Precision, which is a passive ability, and it's an aura, like we talked about auras in the last video. It grants any allied ranged units around her, creep or not, a base damage buff. up to 28% at max level. And at level 4, it grants some true strike, so you'll never miss a target, be it aiming uphill or if they have items that give them evasion. You just won't miss. So if you have a lot of ranged heroes on your team, this is very effective, and like we saw with other auras, you'll be able to see if it's on or not due to, on the ground, there's a little web underneath them. As you can see, these people don't have web. As they come close, you can see the web going on the ranged hero down here. Obviously, Kronos doesn't have it because he's not a ranged hero. He has another aura under him, which we'll talk about in a minute for another hero. Now, of course, we can toggle this on and off creep just by tapping the E button. One thing to note about Web Shot too, you can right click it and it will auto cast, and that means as soon as it's off cooldown, which is always at level 4, it'll automatically be cast just by attacking a unit. Now, this is good at some times, but other times you might have a certain attack modifier. This counts as an attack modifier you'll want to use instead. Something like a shield breaker, for example. So your shield breaker will no longer give the minus armor if you're using the web shot. So that's just something to keep in mind. We will just spawn the neutrals again. Oh, there's the dead body in the way. So there we go. Spawn the neutrals again. Now her ultimate ability is a very strong ability. It is essentially, it's called Spider Sting. Essentially, Arachna throws a spider at a target, dealing 1,125 physical damage and a minus 80 move and attack speed over 5 seconds. This spider will kill you. It kills lots of stuff. So let me throw this spider at the king. It doesn't even wake him up because it's a gadget. It will wake him up. And you can see the spider pretty much killed him by itself. So the spider is incredibly strong, and being physical damage, shrunken heads do nothing against the spider damage. Now you do need to note that you can attack the spider to kill it. I believe it's 5 attacks to kill the spider at max level. I don't have the advanced tooltips on at the moment, but I believe it's 5 attacks. So if you do have that spider on you, yell at your team to quickly attack the spider so that the spider gets off you. Now, one thing to note is it only has a 30-second cooldown at max level, which is ridiculous. You can be casting it over and over again. This is what makes us so good at ganking, because I think it's only 60 seconds at level 1. So you can gank into a side lane, throw down the spider, keep web shotting them, so you've got the slow from the spider, slow from your web shot, and get an easy kill, and then you can do it all again ever so quickly. So she's a great ganking hero, that style. Now next we have Kronos, and Kronos is a hard carry hero. He's pretty much geared towards that, and does a very good job of it late game, and I generally call him an anti-carry carry, because he can so easily, as you'll see in a minute, lock down the enemy's carry and take them out before they can take out your team. So that's what makes Kronos so great. So his first ability is Time Leap, which essentially allows him to jump in this big range circle, anywhere in this big range circle, and dealing, when he arrives, wherever he hits in that circle, takes 175 magic damage, and they're also slowed, so he can jump over here, take that. They're slowed, as you can see, and they're taking the damage. So, now, his second ability is a little bit hard to see. We'll see if we can get it to proc. It's actually called Rewind. Now, what that means is you have a 25% chance to heal any damage taken. So, as you can see, oh yeah, our bar went down then, and then quickly went back up. So you can see it go back up. So which means it helps him to be a little bit more tanky, and it can be incredibly annoying if Kronos rewinds a massive damage nuke. Say, as you'll see later, Witch Slayer, who has a single shot that does like 800 damage. You rewind it, you just saved 800 damage being taken to yourself. So it's very good. Now, the Kronos' third ability is also a passive ability in the sense that on every 5th attack, you deal an extra 70 magic damage and you give it a 1-second stun. Now, while the person is stunned, those attacks on the stunned person don't count as counting down towards the next 5, so you can't permanently stun someone. But if you're attacking very, very fast, it's almost a permanent stun. So let's see if we can get a proc on one of these heroes. Oh yes, we can't proc on these. There we go. There's a proc on the Minotaur. As you can see, he has the glowing orb, should be this next one. Unfortunately, killed him. The glowing orb around him, and it was a little bit hard to see on the little guys. It means he's stunned for a second. Works really well, and you can see how many more attacks you need just down the bottom here, just so that you know when that proc is going to be. So you can always attack a creep a couple times just before a fight, so just ready to proc. And then, now these guys are immune to magic, so they won't get a proc on them. Oh, they do. Well, you know the proc must be physical. My apologies. But these wild hunters, for future reference, are immune to any magic damage. So they won't take the 70 magic damage, but they do take the stun, it would appear. Now, Kronos' ultimate ability is what makes him such a good anti-carry hero, because it is called Chrono Field, and essentially you select a location, and you can see this green circle and where I can select it, and all units in that Chronos Field are frozen for 5 seconds, and we're not talking just enemies, we're talking allies too, so you will freeze your allies in there. So if I cast it on these poor little guys for in here, let me get them to attack me and chase me first. Chase me, little guys. They're going to run after me. I can freeze them in place. They can't move, they can't attack, they can't do anything. But I can. Kronos is the only person who can move or attack in that field. So you can essentially leap into a fight, and by late game, when you're doing insane damage and really quickly, you can leap in and take out the most deadly hero on the other team. So it's more like, if I refresh his skills, you leap and then quickly Kronos Field. So I'm going to leap on these heroes and then throw up my Kronos Field and take out the big baddie, obviously with no items or nothing. Might not take him out in time, but you can pretty much see that with lots of items and when you're very strong, you can easily take out the enemy team's carry. So that's Kronos. He does require a lot of farm to be effective. Because he was one of those heroes that needs a rune cleaver, which allows him to splash damage. We'll talk about that a bit more when we're talking about carries. But yeah, he takes a lot of farm, so a little bit more of a higher skill cap hero. So probably not going to recommend him for new players. So next up, we have Corrupted Disciple, who's one of those mid-tier carry heroes. I wouldn't call him an insanely great range carry like Draconis or Silhouette. He's kind of just floating around the next step down below that. So let's check out his abilities. Let's just respawn these neutrals. So his first ability is what's called Electric Tide. Now Electric Tide essentially, I'll just throw the tide out here. You can see the tide going out and going back in. Now anyone hit, the further away they are from you, the more damage they take. And they get hit twice. Once as the field goes out and once as the field comes back in. So if we cast that again on these creeps, see they got hit on the way out and hit on the way back in. Take that, you nasty creeps. Now, his next ability is called Corrupted Conduit, and this is what makes him quite strong against other carry heroes as well, because what he can essentially do is drain their attack damage and give it to himself. Now, I can't, unfortunately. I need a target, so I'm going to have to spawn a enemy hero right here. So let me just spawn. Bring up the spawner. Let's spawn not Hellbourne controlled. He's going to do nothing now. Let's spawn a Legion Scout. Now, poor Scout's level 1, I'm 25, but you can still see what's going to happen. So if I cast the Conduit on Scout, and you watch. Whoops, I don't want to attack him because I'll kill him very easily. Scout's attack damage has gone right down. You can see he's in the minus. That's how powerful I am at this level. So he actually, if he wanted to attack me, he can't even hurt me right now. He can't actually do damage because he has a negative attack damage. But me, I was stealing that attack damage, and I'm now up to 300, well, I was up to 330 attack damage from stealing all of Scout's attack damage. So what you want to do is cast this ability on the enemy that you're in a fight with, and try to keep close to him, because if he moves more than 700 units away, which is just another 100 units more in this circle, the drain ends. But you still keep that damage buff or whatnot, for the 13 seconds after the drain ends. So you get a ridiculous amount of damage buff, and I reckon just by casting on this poor Scout, whoops, I think I might have cancelled the animation too quickly, and my buff's going up, going up, going up, going up. I'm going to wait till I get to the peak. I want to see if I can one-shot this poor Scout. Oh, almost. And you can see it's very easy. Ooh, I have the tips on. This is not my computer, so I have very silly things on. So yes, you can see that Conduit is very strong. Now his third ability is a passive. I wonder how long it is till that tip goes away. There we go. His third ability is a passive called Static Discharge, and this passively grants you extra movement speed, and any enemy who targets a spell at you gets hit like a rebound kind of for 100 magic damage, and they get minus movement speed. So that's a good kind of ability when people maybe are casting spells on you and trying to run away. You can kind of stop that. Now his ultimate ability is called Overload, which essentially means that you apply Overload to yourself, and every 0.6 seconds you just zap the nearest lowest health target in this little area cone for 62.5 physical damage and -1 of their armor. So we'll Overload, and we're going to attack these creep. So I'm not actually attacking them, I can just be constantly running away, but the Overload is still doing the damage for me. I've still got 10 seconds of Overload left. Let's see if we can kill all these creeps just by overloading him. He doesn't have any armor. Look, he's at -11, -12, and dead. Now, so as you can see, this Overload is great for two things. One, in a fight, just in general, using in a fight, the minus armor is really good dealing damage. It's also good if you're running away too, because anyone who's chasing you is taking damage, and it's also good for chasing them down, because when you're chasing someone, you actually have to stand still for the attack animation. But the Overload, you don't need to stand still for. You can just keep running after them, and it'll just keep zapping them. So it's a very handy ability. So let me move this along. We'll speed it on up. Next up, we have Dampier. Dampier is one of my favourite heroes in the game. I don't play him as often as I should, because I do love Dampier. Now, Dampier is one of those mid ganking style heroes, very similar to Arachna, but also has carry potential, just like Arachna. Now, his abilities are all about dealing insane amount of magic damage instantly. He is like a nuker, and his abilities are all set for that. So his first ability is Terrorize, which essentially deals a bunch of magic damage around you and fears the enemy for a second. Now, fear just means you have no control over your hero, and he kind of will just run around randomly in circles for that second. So it's very annoying. His second ability, well, I'll just use it on these poor creep over here, just standing here doing nothing. And they're all confused. They're not going to run anyway, because they're not going to run. Nothing to do. It's more heroes you'll see run around in circles. And you can see the damage that it does. Now, his second ability is Vampiric Flight. And, oh, I stacked that can. How nice of me. Vampiric Flight allows you to target an enemy and fly towards them, and dealing magic damage to them and anyone that you pass through, as well as healing you for each enemy you pass through. So we'll fly on the last one, and you can see the ones at the front got hurt as well, and the ones at the back. We managed to kill a few just in the flight. Now, his third ability is a passive. It's called the Bloodthirster, and it's a passive lifesteal aura, which means that all nearby allied melee units get an extra 30% lifesteal, and the range units get 10 lifesteal. And of course, you can toggle this on and off. And you can see the little symbol that's under his feet. It's that little demon-y, I don't know, symbol thingy under him. Don't know what symbol that really is. So you can turn that on and off, and unfortunately I'm not hurt, but if I was hurt, look, we'll get hurt. You'll be able to see, I'll be able to heal myself. You can see the health going back up as I hit the creep. Now, his ultimate ability is called Consume, and is such a fun ability. It allows him, one, to have great sustainability in a fight, because Consume deals 400 magic damage to them, and it heals you for that damage done. Now, and it also gives you what is called an essence. And Dampier can collect 3 essence, and each essence he has allows his other abilities to do more damage. So I think this ability with 3 essence, the Terrorize goes up to about 300 magic damage. The other one goes up to about 250. I can't be sure. There is a set number, but you have to look on the forum, I think. And you'll be able to tell, and now you do lose your charges of Consume on death. Now, they recently changed it to using Consume, any form of Consume will give you 1. You used to have to kill a unit with it, but now you just get it no matter if you kill the unit or not. And you can see that I've got this one little charge of essence floating around me. Now, if you do kill a hero with this ability, you get all 3 essence straight away. I'm just going to refresh him, because it's a 30-second cooldown. So I can do it again, just to get another one. charges, and it will refresh me again. We might refresh this guy again to so I don't kill him. And now we have all 3 charges in this 3, all 3 essence floating around me, and this makes Dampier insanely deadly, because I think it's almost 550 magic damage this one by the end, and you'll be able to see that I can probably kill off this big guy just by doing the fly in, terrorize, and oh, I left my thing on consume, and I left it on cooldown, and the, oops, I'm gonna refresh him, here we go. Let's do all 3 again, here we go, fly, consume. So, it's great because it only has a 30-second cooldown, deals a lot of damage, and you get the health back. Just like Flight, you get some health, and Consume, you get some health. So this gives you, you know, you can hold on to your Consume a bit in team fights and use it as a bit of a heal up to allow you to keep going. And it's also good if you have an item, maybe something like a Blood Chalice. So you need more mana, so you're using your Blood Chalice a lot, and you're losing health, where you can consume things to get your health back up there. So he's a great fun hero. And his flight, of course, allows him to jump into fights very quickly. The next hero we're going to look at is Slither. Now, Slither is probably of this list of all the heroes here, the hero I'd most likely play support with, Fade being the other one. And I still wouldn't recommend, but he is a hero that is very good at babysitting, just because he has the greatest last hitting, or the greatest harassing ability, and one of the greatest harassing abilities in the game, which is his toxicity, which essentially means that anytime he hits something, you deal an additional 140 magic damage by level 4, it's a lot less, at the first level, over 7 seconds, and the enemy's regen is lowered by 80% at the top level. So as you can see, I can hit this guy, and he's gonna slowly take magic damage over time. Oop, hit the other one, and you can see they're slowly dying even more. He's gone just from that attack, halfway down health. So in lane, if you're attacking heroes constantly, they're constantly taking magic damage over time, and they're not regenning as quick as they normally would, so he's very good at harassing enemy heroes. Now his first ability, I should have looked at that one first, is Poison Spray. And this essentially is you target a line, and you can see the Poison Spray line. And it deals 100 magic damage in a line, applying a very strong 50% movement speed slow, and then over 15 seconds, the target takes another 250 magic damage, which is probably going to be enough to kill. Let's do creep. You're going to see they're slowed, and they're taking damage, and they die from the extra damage over time. And Slither is the king of damage over time, which you'll see by his ultimate ability in just a second. Stop chasing me, buddy. Which, his ultimate ability... Oh, we won't get to that. We'll get to the wards first. His next ability, his third ability, is Toxic Ward, where he throws out a Toxic Ward at a location, and we can throw out 2 at a time with charges refreshing. There's another every 5 seconds, so there's another ward. And these wards deal 37 physical damage, apply a slow on their attack, and you can apply, and you can throw out a fair amount of these wards. So if I really wanted to, I could go crazy and stack up like 50 wards here. You know, you could just go very ridiculous on the wards. And they last for, I think it's, if I throw it out, 40 seconds? What was that? Yep, 40 seconds. So these things are great for chasing enemies, because you can throw them so far out in front of you, and if the hero's running away, and it'll attack them, and it'll slow them, so allowing you to catch up. And because they're so cheap and mana, and they refresh so quickly, you're chasing someone down, you can literally keep casting them until so you can catch them. They're also quite good when you're pushing towers or whatnot, because you can just throw them out around the tower and just let them keep pounding on the tower and pounding on the creep. I don't really like them so much early game, because they're so easy to kill. They're kind of free gold for the other team. So let's just refresh these neutrals. Now his ultimate ability is the King of Damage Over Time ability. You activate it to deal 972 magic damage in this massive circle around you over 12 seconds. The only problem is, if the hero doesn't take any other damage, this cannot kill them. It'll essentially drop them down to 1 health, but they won't die. Even if you cast this and they're on 1 health, they won't take any damage. So you need something else to go with it, and generally his Poison Spray is a good thing too, because it deals damage up to 15 seconds, and the other one's over 12 seconds, so the Poison Spray will last longer, which will kill them. So as you can see, we'll cast the ultimate here, and the Poison Spray, and I reckon if I walk away now, you can see how much damage he is dropping. He's dropping quickly, 300, 200, 100... Oh, 1 health. And the poison spray, there it was, the tick from that killed him off. So he is the king of damage over time, the absolute king of damage over time Slither. And he's very good to jump in a team fight, get off that ultimate, get off a poison spray, and deal a lot of damage. Next we have another one of my favourite mid heroes, and I'm going to need an enemy hero to actually see one of his skills. So Fade, you can run up here, and when you get there, you can hold. Scout, I mean. His first ability is Cull, which you activate it to deal 280 magic damage around you, and also removing 28% of their max mana, and you gain half of that. So I can cast it. These guys have all got mana. So you probably see over here, I can probably cast this ability, even though it costs 130 mana, and we'll see how much it actually costs me. In this situation, it cost me like 3 mana, just because of how much mana we got back from attacking these guys. You can see how much damage it did. So it's a good farming tool. If they've got mana, what you're farming has got mana, you can just keep using it, and it costs you nothing. Now his second ability is Burning Shadows. Now Burning Shadows does not affect creep, just as a quick point out here. So throw it there, no effect whatsoever. Only affects heroes. It is essentially a stun that creates a mirror image of the enemy, and it deals 280 magic damage to them, and stunning them for 2.5 seconds. So we can see the scout, he's running backwards and forwards. Off you go scout, go for a run. And if we Burning Shadows him, you can see the illusion there attacking him, sticking him in place for 2.5 seconds and dealing 280 magic damage. Good on you, Scout. Well done. Now the third ability is it's kind of like I use it as an escape ability for Fade. It's called Deep Shadows. Now you target an area to right there, and you'll see this circle that comes up. Now if you run through it, you get a 30% movement buff. Whoops, it actually went away because it only lasts for 5 seconds. We'll cast it again. I get a 30% movement buff, so you can see I'm running faster because I went through it, and the buff's gone. And any enemies chasing you, or if they run through it, if you're like throwing it and chasing down, get a 30 movement speed slow. Now what makes Fade a god tier hero, and is considered definitely god tier by a lot of competitive players, is her ultimate, which is Reflection. Now this I activate, and I'm now invisible. That's why I'm looking like that. And I also have granted Tree Walk, so I can walk through these trees, and no one can see it. And they won't stop me. And Clear Vision. So I do have the Fog of War on, so right now I'll just turn the Fog of War off. You can see that I have a massive amount of vision around me in all directions. I believe, 1,200 Clear Vision, and that is a lot of vision. Now if I attack someone out of Invis at level 3 of the ultimate ability, they take 525 magic damage over time, which might kill this guy. You can see, there he goes, he's taking the magic and damage, and he died. So, poor little scout, he's really copped it today. So what you can generally do is you can use your Invis to sneak up on people, and one thing to note is the Invis lasts 50 seconds, and the cooldown is 60 seconds at max level, so you pretty much can be invisible all the time, so it's already up again. You can creep up on someone with the Invis, attack them quickly, out of the Invis, quickly cast the stun, and then Cull quickly afterwards will pretty much, after an attack or two, will pretty much kill most heroes, squishy heroes that are equal or lower level than you. If not, you can use your Deep Shadows, run through it, and get the hell out. Or chase them down if you think you can still get a kill. So yeah, that is Fade. Next we have Flint Beastwood, who is considered one of the hardest carries in the game, in the sense that he will carry hard. He will kill most other hard carries if his team's doing a good job, but he needs a ridiculous amount of farm to become insanely effective. He does have a farming skill, not the greatest in the world, but it still takes him a while to. He's not a flash farmer like Draconis or Silhouette, so it still takes him a while to farm up those items he needs. But when he does have them and he can attack really fast, which is what you want on Flint, he can deal a lot of damage. Now his first ability is that farming ability. It is Explosive Flare, so let's just throw it down here. Boom. You can see that flare, it deals 100 magic damage and another 200 magic damage over 2 seconds to enemies that are hit. Yes, and it also gives them a slow. Now this also, the initial damage affects buildings, so you can use it to last hit buildings if you like. So just flare these guys. You can see they're slowed, and they're copying damage over time enough to kill that guy right there. Now, Flint's second ability, and we'll try and get it on here, there it is, straight away it happened, was a passively grants you a 40% chance to apply an additional 50 physical damage to his attacks and a 0.2 second stun. So as you can see, there it was. You can see the stun and the extra damage, and you can tell when Flint does it, especially on this skin, because, just kill this one here so they respawn, because he shoots with 2 guns instead of the 1. So not happening, not happening, not happening, not happening, not happening. There we go. 40% my ass. Yeah, you can see he shoots with 2 guns, and that's the way to tell. Now, what makes Flint very cool is, one, he's a bit squishy, so what they've done, or how this hero kind of works, is he has a little bit extra range than most other heroes, and that's what his third ability is, Deadeye. And that passively increases Flint's attack range as you level it up. And by level 3 and 4, Flint actually outranges towers. So he can actually, if he's got vision of them, shoot towers without them actually seeing him. And you can see that Flint can attack that target from way over here, which is a massive distance away. Now, Flint's ultimate ability is essentially a single target nuke. He channels for 1.7 seconds and can fire all the way in this range. It's like a massive snipe. And dealing 655 magic damage. Now, it only has a 10-second cooldown, so you can spam this really often, but Flint does have not a lot of mana, so you can't use it a lot, so we can get this Vulture Lord all the way here. We're going to channel away. Boom, money shot. Dead Vulture Lord. Poor guy. So that's Flint. Now, later in the game, as you start dealing or attacking faster and faster and faster, you're going to proc a lot more with this Hollow Point Shell and just deal insane amounts of damage, as well as near stun locking enemy heroes because of the little stun that comes along with it. So that's Flint. Next we have Forsaken Archer, who's another carry hero who's quite common in the competitive scene. Sorry, just flicked the nighttime then. I had the sound in my headphones freaking me out. So let me spawn these neutrals again. Now, his first ability is Crippling Volley, or her first ability, a bit of a she on there, which you target a location, deal 280 magic damage, and immobilize the enemies, or anyone hit for 2.5 seconds. So we can target right there. They're all immobilized, so they can't move towards me, and they take damage. Leave them alone right here, and you actually saw her second ability in effect there, which is a Split Shot, Split Fire, which actually helps her farm a little bit quicker, this hero, because when active, it passively splits your attacks into 3 separate attacks, each dealing 35% of the damage, and the main one takes full damage, so essentially you get 2 extra attacks besides the one you normally get that deal 35% damage. And you can turn this off or on just by flicking it, because if you don't want to push up the lane when you're farming earlier on, you can turn off your Split Fire, so you're not doing that extra damage, just attacking the one creep you want. Now we'll talk about the third ability, because we're about to kill these guys, and you'll see the third ability, which is Call of the Damned, which passively creates a skeleton minion after killing a unit. These skeleton minions follow you around, and whoever you're attacking, they attack too, and deal 35 physical damage per attack. And they hang around for 20 seconds, and you can have 6 of them active at once. So, which means you can be doing a lot of damage just with your little skeleton minions hanging around attacking for you. Now, you can activate this ability, and you'll store the minions instead. So they don't pop out straight away, but then you can click the ability again, and the minions come out. So say in the lane, you don't really need your minions, but there's a bit of a team fight, and you want all 6 of those minions to now be attacking a hero. You can activate the ability, and the 6 minions that you've stored up, they'll call out and can be dealing those damage against heroes, but we're just gonna let them pop out straight away. And first off, you can see I'm split shotting here. I'm attacking the Minotaur, but I'm actually going to be killing the Goateers as well, just because of split shot. Now you can see I have a minion. I have 3 minions following me around, so they're just going to follow me wherever I go, and whoever I attack, they're going to run over there and start hacking them to pieces too. And you can see they deal a fair amount of damage. And now that we've got a whole lot of them, we run over here. Take this called Wild Hunter. You can see they, on their own, deal more damage than me at this point. So they're very good. Now, the final ability that she has is her ultimate, which is called Piercing Arrows. And you target a location to create an illusion that channels and shoots 2 arrows a second for 4 seconds. So 8 arrows, and each arrow deals 175 magic damage. Now I'm running over here to Ancients because you'll find a lot of people use this ability to farm with. Slick's one of the most popular carries in the game at the moment. He loves using this ability to farm. So I'm going to throw it down here to farm. I'm going to crippling volley them in place, and then I'm going to throw down the ultimate. And you can see there it is, shooting out arrows, killing those poor Ancients. So it's incredibly good skill to be farming Ancients ever so quickly, which give you a good amount of gold. So it's also good in team fights. Generally what you try to do is crippling volley. If you hit the crippling volley, you follow it up with the piercing arrows, so the person's stuck in place and can't get away from the arrows. So that's Forsaken Archer. Next we have Gemini, who used to be a very strong hero, because he was kind of broken. But now he's average. An average carry. I won't go into why I think he's an average carry, that's for another video when I talk just about Gemini. But his 4 abilities as such. First one we have is Twin Breath, which you target a unit or position to release a cone that deals 240 magic damage. There's the cone in that cone. 240 magic damage and 60 extra magic damage over 3 seconds and a 30-second movement speed slow. So take this. There you go. There they have it. Copying the damage and they're slowed. So it's called Twin Breath because you can see there's a bit of fire and ice in it. You can come to the fire and ice region thing in a second. Next ability we have is called Twin Fangs, which you target a position and you'll launch in that direction. One thing to note is, I should note, oops, because while you're doing it, come off character, bounces me back to normal. Even though you target close to you, Twin Fangs always goes maximum distance. But enemies you touch get dealt 150 magic damage. So if you touch them right at the end with both forms, the one shooting out left and the one shooting out right, they cop 300 damage, and they get a 2-second stun. So let's do this so we hit these guys over here. Boom. They cop the 2-second stun. Controlling him again. Controlling Arachno. They cop a 2-second stun. They cop all that damage. Now, Gemini's third ability is Twin Strike. It's a passive ability that gives you a 25... which triggers a second attack on the target that does 25% of the normal damage. So, essentially you get a second attack with your attack, deals 25 damage, and you can see the little fire one coming out dealing extra damage, and maybe a little ice. There you go. And it's random, and you keep seeing these fire and ice guys. These are the fire and ice guys again, splitting up and coming back together. Keep seeing them because, I keep controlling Arachno when that happens. Because the ultimate ability allows you to split into fire and ice, each inheriting Gemini's movement speed, magic armor, and 80% stats, I think it was. So right now there's 2 of me. I have ice and fire, which I've just hotkeyed right there. Do 5 and 6. So now they have separate abilities. So the fire gets pretty much the fire part of the cone damage. So now it's only dealing... well, it does deal 250 magic damage and 90 magic damage over 3 seconds. And the one gets the ice damage, which again deals 250 damage and 35% movement speed slow. So the thing to... oh, I accidentally hit those poor guys over there. So the thing to note is if you can cast these in quick succession, I'm just waiting for them to come off cooldown, you're going to deal a lot of magic damage. So we've got the fire guy, we're going to Q, he's going to chop a lot of damage. And the same thing applies with these, I need to target a unit for these ones. You kind of get the stun ability. It's a lot shorter this time, and it's a lot shorter stun, but each person can stun. So I can get the fire guy, he can jump and stun, and the ice guy, he can jump and stun too. Now the third ability allows you to begin channeling, and ice will instantly be called to fire, or fire will instantly be called to ice, depending on which one you are on. So I can begin channeling, fire goes to ice. But if I channel while I'm ice, ice will go to fire. There we go. So the great thing about this is, say, you can send ice back to base to heal, if you're low health. But you still think you got enough health to farm the jungle, so Fire can come out here and he can just still be farming up his ability to kill off things. I need to do the jump. And then when you're like, alright, Ice is back there, I need to go buy new items or whatnot, you can quickly recall Fire back to base. Fire's now off with Ice, and then you can use the ultimate again to recombine them and buy your items. So, okay, the attributes go up as you level, and they're 100% by level 3. The health and mana is equal to those of Gemini, but the thing is, one thing to note too, if I go back to this form, if Fire dies, you die. If Ice dies, you die. So only one of the two has to die, and you will die. So that's one thing to watch out for. So let's put Gemini back in her group, back where she was standing, and get on to our next hero. Next we have Grynex, who's a relatively new hero into the game. He was the last hero introduced before 2 heroes ago? Maybe 2 heroes ago. 2 or 3 heroes ago. He's a mid-hero, ganking hero. Some people play him as a carry. I think he's more of a ganker, who does have carry potential, just like other snowballers. Now, his first ability is Shadow Step, which is a vector entity ability, as they like to call it. Which essentially means you target actually do it then. Let me just refresh it. You target a hero, you target a enemy, and then you select a direction by clicking and dragging, and you will push them in that direction. Now, if they hit a ledge, another enemy, a tree, they take extra damage and they're stunned. So it's 140 for the initial launch yourself damage, and 120 if you push them into a hero, a cliff, a tree, a building, and apply a 1.6 second stun and extra 120 magic damage. So I'm trying to get the thing to come up out of range. Here we go. Unfortunately, because I think it's a creep, I'm not getting the push bar coming up. So where's my poor scout? Let's get my scout back up here just so you can see it. The fog of war off. I'll talk about the other options while Scout's running out. Come on, you poor little Scout. Run. Now, his second ability is essentially an invisibility. It grants you 25% movement speed, 9 seconds of invisibility with a 2-second fade time. And I've got to admit, one of the problems I think with this hero is the 2-second fade time. It's a little bit long. And you get 2 charges of this ability that refresh every 14 seconds. So, as you can see, we're going invisible now. I'm moving faster. And you can see the countdown timer until I run out of invisibility. You can see the countdown for another ability, which is his third ability, which is a passive ability that grants you a bonus 100 physical damage after casting the spell. So you'll see this proc as I hit out of here. You'll see the little version of me also attacking there as well. So it doesn't matter which spell you cast, you'll get the bonus damage. So let's... Whoops, the Scout's going to try and attack me. That's fine, he can't do too much to me. For some reason the little drag indicator's not really coming up. It normally comes up and tells you where you're dragging. Don't know why it's not today. But if you click and just drag in that direction, you can pick which direction you push poor old Scout. He's kind of chasing me around. He has this red glow on him, because that's from Blood Hunter, who we'll talk about in a minute. Now, Grynex's ultimate ability is Illusionary Assault, which you activate it to become invisible and send out shadows to all nearby enemies, and these shadows deal 560 physical damage, and this poor Scout's going to die again. And if you run on the black trail that you see, you'll get a movement speed buff, and you also continue to be stealth. So the black trail that I can stand on, and I'll be invisible, get a movement speed buff, and the Scout's copping it from the illusion. So let's push him down into the ledge and kill our poor Scout. Poor Scout. So that's his abilities. That's Grynex. He's a very good ganking hero. You can run in there, invis, do a quick attack to get the bonus attack damage, then push someone into a ledge, attack him again to get the bonus damage, and deal a lot of damage very quickly. So that's Grynex. Next we have Gunblade, who's another carry hero, who I consider to be one of the weakest carry heroes in the game. Just because, one, his ultimate's not that good. He can be good, he just seems a bit clunky as a hero. So first he has his Crippling Slugs, which allows you to quickly fire 3 slugs in any direction that deal 90 physical damage per slug. Now, one thing to remember is, Unlike most heroes you find, or most abilities, all these abilities are physical. So you are dealing damage even though people have shrunken heads and things like that to prevent magic damage. So that's always good. So let's fire the 3 slugs. You can see we deal the damage and the poor guys are slowed. So his next ability is Demonic Shield, which you activate to grant yourself a shield that absorbs damage equal to 180 damage plus 1.5 times your agility. So at the moment, my agility is 104, so 1.5 times that, so pretty much another 150. So, yeah. So if I activate it, I get a shield that's going to absorb all that damage, last 8 seconds, and I get an 80 movement speed buff as well. So I move faster while my shield's up. There goes my shield. Now, my third ability is a passive ability called Lethal Range, which essentially means you deal more damage the closer you are to your enemy. Now, this only works on heroes, so I can't really show you, but it essentially means if you get, the bonus damage goes up to 50% of your base damage if you're 200 units or closer. So, if you walk up very close to your enemy, you're dealing 1.5 damage, essentially. So you can see this works really well with his ultimate, which is Grappling Shot, which I will just cast on this poor Sniper boss. Now, Grappling Shot, you target an enemy hero, deal 300 physical damage, which to be honest is a little bit low, launch yourself on top of them, stunning them for a second, and applying -7 armor to them for 5 seconds, so we can jump on the Sniper boss. Oh, it's heroes only. What do you know? I didn't even check that one. So I can't cast on that. We need our poor little scout to run up. Oh, that's going to take too long. I'm just going to spawn another scout. More scouts. Spawning a scout. There he is. So the great thing about this is you can launch yourself on top of them with the ultimate, then cast your slugs because they're physical damage. You've already lowered their armor and they deal more damage, and then hopefully finish them off because they're slowed from the slugs and can't really get away. So let's go launch on them, shoot the slugs, and poor scout, or scout number 2, is dead. So that's our Gunblade. Again, his only farming ability is his slugs, which is not that strong. Let's do it against the weakest camp. We can't even kill all the weakest camp creatures. We still have to attack them all. So you can see he doesn't farm that well. His abilities aren't super strong, and being a ranged hero that has to put yourself right next to people to deal his maximum damage is a little bit scary. So, but that's Gunblade. Next we have Bloodhunter, who is a great hero in lower tier matches. Higher tier matches he kind of pigs out a little bit because he is quite easily countered, unless you try different weird builds with him. But yes, we'll get to his abilities right now, but my dog is just sitting here huffing away at me. His first ability is Blood Craze, which you can target an ally or an enemy, apply Blood Craze to them for 9 seconds. Now the unit affected gets 80% base damage buff, which is a lot of extra base damage. They're silenced, so they can't cast any spells, but they do take 20 magic damage per second. So earlier in the game, this is very effective to cast on enemies. Because 1, you silence them, and 2, they take a lot of damage for a low health people. Because it just works out as a good nuke earlier on in the game. Later in the game, I don't recommend casting it on enemies that are just physical attack damages. Say they've got a Dark Lady who we're talking about in a minute. Don't cast it on her because you're just buffing her more and she's going to chew through you. I generally either cast it on one of the people who needs to cast spells to deal damage, or cast it on yourself for that buff. So we're just going to cast it on ourselves for a second. I just double-clicked Q to do that. As a sign, you can just double-click on an ability, and if you can, you will cast it on yourself. You can see I'm taking damage, but while it was on me, you can see my damage goes up to 250, which is a lot of damage. So I can essentially eat those creeps in 2. Now what I'm going to do is I'm just going to stand here for a minute and just keep casting Blood Craze on myself and just cop some damage so we can see his second ability. Actually, we'll just let this go to this Minotaur just go at me. His second ability is Feast. Now Feast passively heals Bloodhunter each time he kills a unit. Each kill heals you for 25% of their max health. So if we kill this Minotaur, we'd get 25% 1,100. So we're going to get around 275 health. if it's a hero, you get 60% of the health. So even if you kill another Blood Hunter, you're going to get over around 1,000 health back. So as you can see now, if I kill this 4 Minotaur, my myself cycling quicker. Boom, he dies. I gain that health. So you can see I healed myself back up slightly. So this is very good. This is why Blood Hunter can be a pain mid 1 vs 1, because no matter how much you harass him, he's just eating creeps and healing back up. So he's very good in that sense. So that is his second ability. As you can see, I'm just cruising through the jungle, eating creeps and healing myself back up. Now his third ability is Blood Sense, and this passively reveals nearby enemies and allies who are below 40% health, and if the target's in range. And Blood Hunter gains a 44% movement speed buff if they are in range below that 40% health. Now, this reveals units, so as you can see with this scout who's coming running up, we might just level him up. And level up his advantage. So if I take poor scout down below 40% health, which is going to happen quite quickly. There he goes. Poor scout. You can see I have this awesome movement speed buff. I'm flying now as Blood Hunter, and that's pretty awesome. And I'm moving quite fast, even without boots, without anything. I'm moving at 461. That's, ridiculously fast. Now, even if Scout activate his Vanish, so he goes invisible, I can still see him. So, poor Scout can still get eaten. Now we'll just refresh poor Scout. So right now, normally I wouldn't be able to see Scout because I control this unit. I can see him. So if I remove Photo Wall, he's gone. I can't see Scout anymore. There we go. We'll put Photo Wall back on just so we can see the hole. Put him below 40 health. There he is, Blood Scent. Still see poor Scout. I can still see his heart beating even though he's invisible, and I can still select him and target him to attack him. So poor Scout, invis is not doing much for him. In case I refreshed him, and now he's invisible again. But we'll remove Fog 4 and we'll take him out of Vanish mode. Now, the ultimate ability, I was going to say Homogeneous. That's right, I can say this ability. Targets an enemy hero, deals 450 superior magic damage, which means you take the magic damage no matter if you have a shrunken head or not. And applies, I can't even say that word, I'm not going to try anymore, for 9 seconds. Which means if you try and run away, you cop damage. Oops, you can see I just ran and died. So you cannot move while you've got that damage on you. One thing to note is Blood Hunter does not have a stun. If Blood Hunter casts this on you and it's just him around, teleport back to base. Because generally what you do is you cast that on someone, then you silence them so they can't do anything against you, and then just chomp them to death. But if you have a teleport on you, just teleport back to base, and he will just sit there slowly trying to chomp you down. But probably won't be able to do it. Now we're still flying there, even though Scout's gone, so I'm back to slow moving me. So generally what you'll see people do is they'll cast on something, which is going to die running around, and they'll silence them so they can't do anything, and that's pretty much how you kill. So he's a ganking mid-style hero. So that's how Blood Hunter plays out. So we'll run Blood Hunter back, and we'll get on to the next hero we're going to look at, which is Sandwraith, who is a very hard carry hero in this game. So just run Sandwraith out. Now Sandwraith's first ability is Desert's Curse, and you shoot a line of sand, dealing magic damage to anyone hit. Anyone who walks on it is slowed, and if you walk on it, for 3 seconds after you walk on it, you can move through terrain. So if I cast this up this hill in this big line, there it is, I can actually just run up this hill through this terrain. And because it's within 3 seconds, I can walk down over here. So this is a great ability for initiating from weird positions, or escaping even if you need to escape. Now, the next ability that Sandwraith has is Deserted, which means that Sandwraith deals an extra 25% true damage to enemy heroes who have no allied units near them, or if they're affected by Desert's Curse as well. So if you cast Desert's Curse, each time you hit them, they cop an extra 45 damage. The third ability that makes Sandwraith so damn tanky is called Dissipate, which passively grants 16% magic reduction. So, and damage reduced is reflected to all enemies in the area as magic damage. So you can ping her for as much damage as you like, but it is that some of that damage is pushed back on the enemies, and as you can see, these guys aren't dealing a lot of damage, so they're not taking a lot of damage, but you can see they're actually taking damage while attacking Sand Wraith. Now, I might run these guys out of the well. Just one of them can run over here, and one can run over here. And we'll see what Sand Wraith's ultimate ability does. Now, Sand Wraith's ultimate ability is called Mirage, and you can activate it to spawn an illusion yourself next to all enemy heroes on the map. Now, these illusions last for 5 seconds, so just sit there attacking the enemy, and you can teleport to any one of those illusions. So one, if you've been ganked and this is one enemy somewhere else, you can use it to get away, but generally use it for initiating. So what you can see here, I'm going to activate Mirage, and I'll quickly look at both scouts, and you'll see that there's an illusion there, and then I'm going to hit R again and select this area over here, and try teleport to that scout. So, just leave them up here. Hitting R, one illusion there, one illusion there. I'm going to hit R. Now I am right next to the scout. I can cast my ability and I can kill it. Through the terrain, over the hill. Whoop, whoop. Run, Sand Wraith, and you can get out. You can get yourself stuck too by that, but run out right there. So that's Sand Wraith. Now that illusion, if you've got things like Mock of Brilliance, can do insane amounts of damage. You've got 5 of you essentially attacking people, and it can also be very confusing in a 5 vs 5 team fight where the real Sand Wraith is. So that is our Sand Wraith. Next we have Madman, who is an insanely hard carry. I just think he's slightly outclassed nowadays by other melee carries who can farm faster and just do a little bit more, like Dark Lady. But he's a pretty good 1 vs 1, and he's a pretty good ganker for someone who's going to hard carry the game. That's because he has a bit of invis, just like Grenex. Now his first ability is that invis, it's called Stalk. Now you activate it to go invisible for 4 seconds, you get 50% extra movement speed, and you deal 120 magic damage to any enemy you pass through. So I'm invisible, I'm just passing through them, and they cut the damage. Because I was invisible, they didn't know it was me, so then I'm not even aggroing them. Now the cooldown's only 7 seconds, so you can cast this a lot, and the mana cost is actually quite low, only 60 mana at top level. So this is a very good ability for initiating, running away. Oops, they saw me. Run! Use my stalk again, it'll confuse them. And just harassing enemies in lane. Now his second ability is called Barrel Roll, and you select the target location, and you can see where I can select it. Just about there's the max range. That's too far. That's it. And you quickly move there and back to your original position. And enemies pass through, caught 280 magic damage, and are slowed 50%. Just like that. Killed a couple of them, and you can see how slow the poor guys. So you can stalk in on people, and then barrel roll, and generally deal a lot of damage. The barrel roll is really good to slow people down, stop them running away. Now his third ability is Gash, which passively grants Madman a 28% chance of dealing 2 times damage on attack. So essentially built-in rift shards almost. Which is, well, pretty much 30% chance of double damage, which is pretty good. Now, this works really well, and we'll see if we can get a proc here. You'll be able to see it when it comes up. You'll see him double slash when he procs. Stalk over there a bit quicker and attack. There we go. That was one. And you can see the numbers come up over his head. 274 damage for the critical when he does get a critical. So you know when you're critical because it'll come up over your head. Double slash, 268 for that critical. No criticals yet. There you go. Gets his critical. Now this scales insanely well with his ultimate ability, which I use as a great whoops, get out the canvas and spawn that. Great team fighting ability, a great farming tool as well, just because of how short the cooldown is. Cooldown's only 55 seconds, and it's up for 30 seconds. It gives you 120 attack speed extra and an extra 9 movement speed. So if I activate it, I'm going berserk. You can see just how much quicker I'm attacking right now. And especially if you've got attack speed items and damage items, you are going to be slicing through enemies while that is activated. And lasting 30 seconds, it's definitely going to last a full team fight. And seeing the cooldown's only 55 seconds, it's only 25 seconds really before you can use it again. So it's a great ability in team fights. Pop a shrunken head, so no magic damage, and just go at them, trying to kill them. Next we have Shadowblade. Shadowblade is an interesting hero. I think he's quite strong. He's a little bit difficult, I think. A lot of people haven't quite worked him out that well yet. It's just the best way to build him, because he is quite unique in how you can build him. Heaps of intelligence, heaps of strength, heaps of agility. There's lots of different ways, and it's especially dependent on who you're up against. And that's because all his abilities work separately on his strength, agility, and intelligence. Now, his first ability is the strength one, which you activate to deal 240 magic damage and apply a slow around you. And it grants you an extra 8 armor, an extra 4 magic armor, and an extra 12 strength. So it makes you big and tough. So see, activate it there, and look at me. Gargantuan form. I'm just massive, and I don't take a lot of damage because I have all that armor. Now the next form I can take is the Feint form. Feint's Cypher. I don't know. Yeah, ignore me, I'm an idiot. You target a unit to leap to him from 600 units away, which is this circle. And upon contact, you deal 240 magic damage, drain 40% of the enemy's damage, applying damage drain to yourself for 5 seconds, similar to the Corrupted Conduit. You drain in theirs, and you get it, and you get an extra 40 movement speed and 12 agility, so you can jump up here, use it on this big guy, drain his attack damage, and give it 2 honors. So now we just whop through in our agility form. Now the next form is the intelligence form, which activates to grant clear vision around you. It doesn't matter right now because the fog's off, for 800 units. And Soul, now you're in the Soul's form, Soul's Sight, and now you gain 600 attack range and you deal bonus magic damage equal to 80% of your intelligence. And it grants you a bonus 12 intelligence while in this form. So you can see we can activate it. Form here. Now I'm a ranged hero who does good amount of damage, and the more intelligence you have, the more that scales. Now the final ability is called Essence Shift. Now you can target a hero to gain 40% of their primary attribute, and then your primary stat then changes to the one you've gained. So a quick note on that is, say, unfortunately all the heroes I have in the game right now are in agility heroes, so primary stat's not going to change. But you can see our primary stat as a 1 here that's in yellow. And that means that I'm an agility hero, and the more agility items I have, the more damage I do. If I was an intelligence hero, the more intelligence items I have, the more damage I do. So you can see that, say there's a Devourer on the other team who has insane amounts of strength. I would go, alright, I can be a really good strength damage dealer because I can steal 40% of his strength, or gain 40% of it, and add it on top of mine. I'm dealing extra damage because now I am the strength hero, and I can even activate my Gargantuan form to give me more strength and deal more damage, and be tougher. So let's just start with, who's sitting on the most here? 113, that'll do. I thought Dark Lady would probably be the most. 117, yeah, she's pretty good. Let's steal Dark Lady's agility. Not stealing it because she still keeps it. So we can just click on her. I become an agility hero, which I already am, and now my agility is 140. So it's very high, and this is on a minute cooldown. So just refresh me again. I can do Essence. And yeah. The thing is, this will switch now, so say I did it on someone else, I don't know why I did it on Dark Lady again, say I did it on Blood Hunter, he's got a different agility, now I drop down to 136 because his agility is not as high. So as the game goes on, you want to keep doing this, as their strength's getting higher, or their agility is getting higher, you'll get more agility. So yeah, so just a thing to note is you'll change attributes. So if you're building agility items and you take over an intelligence hero, all those ability items that gave you more attack damage no longer do. So that's one thing to note with Shadowblade. Next one we come up to is Soul Stealer. Soul Stealer is very good farmer, a strong carry, and is great mid because can nuke down people from early levels with his Demon Hands, which we will see right here. I should just put the Demon Hands just for fun of it. Now the Demon Hands pretty much his only skill besides his ultimate that's active. The others are passive. So first he has Soul Steal, which passively grants you a soul when you kill a unit. And each one of those souls gives you 2 attack damage. So right now I have 112 to 118 attack damage. But if I waltz down here and kill these guys off, you can see my attack damage is going up. Come down here, kill these guys off. Wait for my demon hands to come back up. So kill them off. Now my damage is up to about 130 damage. So, and as you can see, he's a great flash farmer because he can easily take out stacks with these demon hands. We'll just stack this up quickly so you can see again. And how easy, he doesn't need to attack a single target, he can just attack all of them with his demon hands. Pretty much killed up the whole stack with those 3 demon hands. So how these demon hands work is obviously they deal 300 magic damage, and each one of your buttons, being E, W, and Q, the 3 normal cell abilities, are the different distances. So Q being the closest, and then moving out with W, and then E being the one really far away. Now these are always dealt in a straight line from wherever you're facing, so obviously I could use them through here, like so, these guys. You can see the different range. So you can see the first one obviously just lands right here, and the N1 is just going to land all the way in the pit. So one thing that you might want to try when you're using this hero is try using direct pathing. Now, I don't think direct pathing only works with ledges. I'm not sure what my direct pathing is set up to stock. I thought it was alt, but it might not be. Yeah, it might not be. If you have whatever your direct pathing set up to, it means that you'll always walk in a straight line no matter what. So if you know your hero's up there, see how I'm clicking on him and Soul Steal is like turning and walking up the hill? If you have direct pathing on and you hit like whatever direct pathing is, you'll just walk in a straight line towards him. So you'll walk up here, so that you'll know your demon hand's always going to hit. Personally, I just go, oh, I'm at the ledge now I can cast my demon hand, do whatever I need to do. I never play this hero, to be honest. Now, his third ability just lowers the armor of enemies near you, and his ultimate ability deals ridiculous amounts of damage. Now, I have no enemy units here, so you won't see it. We can just bang over here for the creep. And essentially, you channel for 1.4 seconds and deal 300 damage times 40 magic damage per soul you have to enemies with 100 range. And then the further you are away, all the way out on that circle, you just cop less damage. Anyone who's also hit, they get a 25% movement speed, slow, and base damage taken off them. So we're just going to stand right in the middle here and pop this ultimate. Blow up and pretty much kill everything inside. So great thing to do is when you're full of souls is port key in on the enemy team right in the middle of them and pop that and deal ridiculous amounts of damage. So our second last hero, I know this video is quite long, but we're getting there. Our second last hero is Tremble. I like Tremble. Tremble's fun to play. I think he's a little bit weak at the moment. He's been picked up a bit more in comp play lately. I still think he's a little bit weak for comp play, but he's a very fun hero and can deal a lot of damage. He's quite a good solo 1v1 hero. And the reason of that is probably his second ability, and I'm just going to pop one out here, is his Terror Mounds. So we're going to plonk a Terror Mound down. Now whenever I'm on this Terror Mound that I just placed, I am invisible with a 2-second fade time. I gain 30% movement speed and 8 health regeneration. Now the Terror Mounds are very hard to kill. They have 800 health, I think it is. 700 health, 5 armor, and 100 health per second non-combative regeneration. So if nothing is attacking them, they regain that health. You can have a max of 9 of these mounds around. Now you can activate by using E if you're in a mound. You can teleport to other mounds. I don't have any other mounds set down, so let's just put one right here. So I'm standing in this mound, activating E, and click on the other mound. I teleport, go underground, and pop up at the other one right there. which is cooldown of 60 seconds, so you can't use it very often, but it's very good for the start of the game, maybe putting a Terror Mound up here in the trees somewhere, and then if you're in this lane, quickly port up behind the enemy team with you and Boris, who we'll talk about in a second, and gank them. But his first ability is actually called Dark Swarm, which grants you a swarm of bugs around you for 5 seconds, and the swarm deals 80 magic damage per second, and enemies outside the swarm deal 32% less damage to you. So there's the swarm, they're copying the magic damage, and if they were outside this swarm, which is pretty hard for melee units, they would deal less damage. His third ability is passive, which adds an extra 20 attack damage and causes your attacks to slow the enemies by 40%. In addition, your attacks deal an extra 20 bonus magic damage and heal to enemies you've not attacked for 2 seconds. So that's the basis of this character. You can see the heal. Great. There you go. So as I'm standing back in my mound, you can see I'm healing back up at 11.9. That's what I'm saying. And then if I go away from my mound, it's like 3.9. So the mounds are very strong. Now his ultimate ability is Hive Mind, and it permanently summons Boris to aid you in battle. Now Boris is your pet. Boris is independent. He can run around. Boris can put down mounds for you. Boris can teleport between mounds the exact same way he can. Boris, nicely, he also has the Impalers that causes slow. He has grants 30 deflection, which means you can miss, and his attacks take off armor. Now he also has a stun called Ensnare, which you can target a unit and they're immobilized for 2 seconds. So Boris, we're going to run away with Boris. So normally I'd tab between. I can tab between units. Cool. We'll just refresh Boris again. So one Boris can be by your side, or Boris can be off doing his own thing. Maybe Boris can be off farming for you, gaining you gold on his own, while you're over here gaining gold. So as you can see, Boris can easily take on these creeps, and especially if he can go back to mounds between waves and heal up. Or Boris can be with you, and say you're attacking someone, you can, because I'm controlling both units, I can tab between the two. I can quickly snare a unit, then tab back across and use both of them to attack, or activate my swarms, a lot of fun. So yes, that's Boris. And if Boris dies, you can call another Boris 2 every 60 seconds. So Boris is a handy little fella. Let's put it down right here. Now you can always, if your mound is blocking something, you can actually collapse it just by hitting Q while you have it selected. So there's Tremble. Great ganking hero and carry-ish hero. I wouldn't call him the greatest hard carry in the game, but he's a good snowball hero. Next we have Dark Lady, who I consider an incredibly strong hard carry in the game. One of the strongest, if not the strongest melee hard carry. She's dumping inside Terror Mounds. Good on her. You can see that. That's interesting. Anyway, for the Dark Lady, she has her Dark Blades, which you can activate to apply the Dark Blades to yourself for 6 seconds, which grant you 80% base damage. So if I activate them, look, I'm already at 250 damage. And your attack silence for 2.5 seconds, which is very strong against heroes who are trying to blink away or something. You can stop their blinks because they're silenced, they can't cast their spells. Now her second ability is Taint Soul, which you target an enemy to deal 150 magic damage and a nice slow 60% tapering movement. 60% tapering movement speed slow for 5 seconds. So this is good for 2 things. One, you can use it for last hitting in the lane. Say you're up against ranged heroes and you're struggling to be able to kill the creep, because you can't get near the creep because they're harassing you. You can just stand back, cast Taint Soul, get the kill, get the gold. So it's handy in that respect. It's also handy for chasing down heroes as a relatively low cooldown. You can spam it once so you can jump in on their slowed, and maybe later on you can spam it again as they're trying to get away. Now, the third ability is what makes her a very safe farmer, or very good at initiating, called Charging Strikes. It allows you to target a location, charging to that position, pathing around obstacles, and instantly attacking any enemies you pass through. After the charge, you gain 75 attack speed for 6 seconds. Now this works really well with the Dark Blades, because you activate the Dark Blades, you get that extra damage. Then you charge, you deal all that extra damage to everything you charge through. Now if you have a Runed Cleaver, which allows you to splash damage, every attack you does the splash damage. So you're doing a ridiculous amount of damage, splash, and just normal attacks. So what we're going to do is we're going to activate the Dark Blades, then we're going to charge through these snotters, and pretty much kill them all, straight away. Now, the ultimate ability I can't really show you in this mode, but it's called Cover of Darkness. And Cover of Darkness essentially means you target this area, and you do have huge range on Cover of Darkness. And anyone inside that circle, in that range, essentially their vision is bumped down to only 400 units. You can only see, like, 400 units around you is like standing on this terror mound, like just around the edges of the terror mound. There's like 400 units. So that's all you can see. You can't see anything else for the duration, which is 6 seconds. So for 6 seconds, all you can see is that. And you don't have your enemy's vision. You can't see anything else. You can't see like anything, just what's around you. So your vision is unlinked. A little handy note is this: if this is applied on you and you quickly throw down a ward of sight after the application, you can see everything in the ward of sight range. So that's a handy thing to note when fighting against the Dark Lady. But Ultimate's so good for initiating team fights because you can cast it on the enemy. Obviously, there's nothing there. Then charge in with your blades activated and then go to town, killing everything. You see how much damage I do just by using her abilities with no farm whatsoever. So you can imagine how much damage she does with lots of farm. So there are all the basic heroes for the Hellbourne agility side. For beginners, my recommendation would probably be Fade, Blood Hunter, because he's quite easy to play, Forsaken Archer, and if you want to try and carry, go the Dark Lady. The rest, they're all very good heroes, don't get me wrong, they just probably take a little bit higher skill cap. Arachnid's pretty easy too, because you just right-click your spider on someone, they're easy to kill. Anyway, this video has run way too long, so if you have any questions, please feel free to post any comments, and as usual, if you ever need help in the game, feel free to whisper me. Thanks very much. Yeah, enjoy your day.